Oh, it's not a cut. That's a slice.
Now this is a quack hook.
Oh,
Short
wow.
and into the right rough, headed to the trees.
Oh my God, it's a shank. He decided to re-tee. That's a shank. Oh, man.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Two-Way Miss podcast. We thank you for joining us tonight, wherever and whenever you might be. Hope that you've been enjoying this sort of wacky week and a half or 2 weeks in the world of golf. And trust me, we have a lot to talk about. But as always, we can't go too much longer without saying hello to the good buddy Banksy. Banksy, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. Fantastic. Glad to be back. Good to see you. Good to hear your voice. Let's talk some golf.
Right back at you. We got a lot to talk about, man.
Yeah.
It's been a lot that's happened in the past few weeks.
Shit going on.
There
Tell you
is.
what.
So I guess we should start with the most important thing is that we had a major end, 2 weeks ago. And someone who we didn't, really think probably had a shot kind of came out and showed that he's still really, really good at golf. JT went out in the bad rotation. So I guess the afternoon, morning rotation on the first 2 days, which was by far the harder of the rotations with how the wind was going at Southern Hills, and played himself into contention, at least on the first day. Second day didn't do too much. But, and then the next day, the weekend, I don't know. We're going to have to talk about this weekend because, listen, JT went out and shot a number on Sunday. But also the top of the field very much came back down to him. Pereira, Fitzpatrick, who else? Who else was it? Why can't I remember the third guy? Who was the third guy?
I don't know.
Hold
Is it anybody that matters?
No, but it's interesting.
Okay.
Fleetwood,
Okay.
Cam Young. Okay, yeah. They all sort of came back to the field because Mito was bucking his head and out there riding into the sunset.
He was balling there for 71 holes.
Yeah. So Justin comes out, goes 67, 67, 74, 67.
The shots that he was playing in those conditions, it was almost like trick shots.
Yeah.
He's pulling 6-iron from 200 yards and 150 yards.
Yeah.
And his ability to manipulate the golf ball and trajectory and distance in crazy conditions. We saw it at another tournament earlier this year. It was one of the early ones. I think it's somewhere in the Florida swing. At the Players, I think, where like his ball striking is just incredible. Like he can hit shots that other guys can't or don't have the creativity to hit. And I mean, the guy put together a hell of a round on Sunday, and was eight shots back.
Yeah.
With start.
Yep.
I mean, with like 10 holes to go or something, and just manufactured a number, and then like you said, let the field just come back to him, and then you hate to see what happened on 18 with Milo. What was his name? Mito. Because you're seeing, like, he's standing on that tee, right? And you're like, man, hey buddy, just
I
don't
know.
go right.
Right. Yeah.
Don't go right, man. And then you see that funky swing, the finish. At first you're like, the follow through and the swing looks so bad. Like, oh, maybe he tried it. Like, it looks so bad. Hopefully he tried that.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it was that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. It came out that sort of after, because I guess it was Thursday, where the conditions were really tough in the afternoon, and JT went out and shot, like you said, that 67 in the really hard conditions, and that's where he was putting together those shots, and it came out that, not sort of shockingly, that Tiger sort of had been busting his balls. That why can't you, like, what is with you guys? Why can't you guys hit these shots? Apparently he was watching them on the range, and he's like where's your shot making? Like, where's your ability to create these shots like you were talking about? And that caused JT to really buckle down and try and work on this stuff. And I think it's what we've been wanting to see from him, because we know how talented he is.
Right.
And he's just been in the wilderness for the past however long that he hasn't held up under pressure at these majors, at the majors especially. And it was, maybe this was, I don't know if this gives him the confidence, or if Tiger gave him the confidence to go out and just pull off these shots, or what it was, but he certainly executed. And like you said, he was one of the few guys, when you watched him and when you watched his group, who was pulling off these shots or even trying them.
Yeah. Well, that's the way the game's played. Tough conditions. Will Zalatoris is who we missed, by the way.
No, I knew about Will. I figured we'd talk about him when we talk about the playoff. I wasn't leaving our boy Willie out.
Okay. All right.
I would never do that to him.
Yeah, tough conditions just really expose these guys' weaknesses, because they do. You hit it 350 yards, great, and you can hit a wedge 100, a mile up in the air and let it come, but that's all great and dandy when conditions are fine. And I think some of the crazy weather we've seen this spring really accentuates the weaknesses, and these guys just I don't think they even like playing it. It's like, oh, it's just too hard. I don't even.
So I think the biggest thing that they complained about were that the greens were fuzzy. They weren't running at 12, 13. They were running at like 11.
I don't want to hear that shit.
I know, right?
As soon as a ball rolls by,
right.
But as soon as a 2-foot putt rolls by, 12 feet, then it's too hard. It's too hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how a lot of these guys get away with. You hear some of these guys talk. Like, I hit a few balls here and there. I practice here. I'll go out and play on the weekend with some buddies, and I'll go hit some wedges. But I think the way the equipment has become so reliant on the equipment, so reliant on these golf balls, and these guys play, for the most part, they play on these courses where all these courses are cutting trees down and making fairways bigger, and when you're playing in ideal conditions, they can just bomb it all over the place and then flick wedges into the green and knock in putts. But now all of a sudden you throw weather conditions where guys do have to go high, they have to go low, around things, and they have to mix up their bag of shots. I don't know how many guys have that, and Tiger's probably right. He's like, you guys talk about all this stuff, but do you practice it? And do you have it in your bag when you need it? That's just a theory. And not to take away any, like, how good these guys are, but I think golf has been so technology advanced. I don't know if they do practice different shot shapes and different types of shots that they need to play on the off chance that the weather might be shit. And
I think I was pleasantly surprised by Southern Hills and sort of the ask that it required of these guys. I didn't know. We didn't, like we said, we didn't know much about it going into it, and it seemed to be very different from when Tiger even played it way back when.
Right, 100%, 100%.
And the shots that it required these guys to hit was really cool. It was cool. I mean, the greens are small. The fairways had bumps and humps in them that made your ball go every which way. And it required you to either be able to shape your driver. You weren't bombing it over many of them. There were a couple corners that some guys took it over the top of.
Which is still really cool to see.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But I want you to, I want you to be able to hit an 8-iron from 100 yards if you have to.
Yeah, right.
Light it under the wind.
And of course, the wind finally picked up. And we've been talking about this with the past maybe 4 or 5 majors. And
it was cold.
All of them sort of needed the wind to pick up in order to be difficult, but it never really happened. The last Open Championship, the wind, laid down. The Masters was fine. During Phil's PGA, the winds were fine, but they weren't as bad as they could be at Kiowa.
Yeah, and that's a difficult golf course.
Regardless, right?
But you're right. The winds weren't anywhere near what they could have been.
Yeah. And in this one, we got the winds. We got different winds. We got different temperatures. We got different conditions. And it made... And look, say what you will about Will Zalatoris and his putting stroke, but that dude's a ball striker. And he was putting together shots. Maybe not as often as JT, but he was doing it. And he was willing to take the shots or try the shots or try and pull off the shots he needed to get himself in contention for those things. And I think that's... I mean, his major record now is like something crazy.
Yeah,
he's just playing unbelievable in these things. But I thought for going into it with very low expectations, I was highly entertained by the whole thing, by all 4 days. Entertained because Tiger was in it for 2 rounds. I kind of stopped watching him after that because I just felt bad.
I know. Yeah, that was tough.
And then being able to watch JT, Will, Rory on Thursday playing with Tiger.
How did DJ do on the weekend?
Did he make the weekend?
Nope.
I didn't think so.
Missed another cut in a major.
Yep, that's all right. He's got $200 million.
He's got other things to...
Yeah, he's got other things to worry about. Or not worry about. He's just got other things. He's caring about other things right now. We'll get to that in a minute. But it really did... I was impressed by the golf course. I was impressed by the way it had to be played. I was impressed by the shots that it required of these guys. I was impressed by how difficult it could have been. I like when it gets difficult for a round. I think that makes it a lot of fun because you see which guys can just grind and hold on. And Saturday was that day. Like, the conditions it got cold. The wind switched directions. It was tough. And it's a major championship, so I enjoy when that's part of what you have to go through in order to win. It kind of stinks that Mito and Fitzpatrick and Cam Young all sort of had to come back to JT so far. But that's what's going to happen. And credit to Mito, he spoke to the media afterwards and admitted, it's the first time I've ever been in this position, and the pressure just got to me. He's like, I couldn't even tell you what it felt like because I've never experienced it before. And good for him. He's a young guy. He's, obviously playing out of his mind to be leading a major championship going into the final round. And like you said, unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. But I don't think you can. It's always tough when that happens, and then you get a guy like JT who was playing really well and put together a good round on Sunday, but again, you might say this about every major, but a lot of after Tiger, but a lot of things had to happen for him to even be close to getting in that playoff. A lot of guys had to come back to him. But you know what? Then he went into the playoff and he handled his business and played really well. And I thought the playoff was great. I enjoyed every shot.
Yeah, it was neat. It was a good mixture of holes that they
Yeah.
played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wish Mito. And gosh, that guy in a span of half an hour goes to having a one-shot lead to
Yeah.
finishing
I know.
tied for third. You know, at least let the guy get into the playoff. But it's amazing. Like, and that's the beauty of golf, because one hole and completely unravel probably one of the greatest moments of your life, and certainly the greatest moment of your career. One hole.
Yep.
Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, the playoff was good. You know, Zalatoris, the ball striking, pretty damn good. You did see some putts missed, but that's to be expected. Like, it's going to happen with him. Like,
Mhm.
that. It'll be interesting to see if he continues on with that kind of funky long putter claw grip situation.
I think it's the only thing holding himself together. He's sort of
I guess.
he has to do this like figure eight motion in order to take the tension out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
you know, these guys and all their resources, like, do you call a Ben Crenshaw? Do you get in touch with Brad Faxton? Like, it's just, some of that stuff is like, is that really your only option? Is to have a long putter with a two-fingered claw grip and figure eight swoop-de-doops in your putting stroke.
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it might just be something that like he feels takes sort of the pressure off of that stroke for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's like in what is it? In what's that movie? Tin Cup, where he like makes him turn his hat around and put all his change from one pocket to the other because he's got the yips on the driving range. And he's like, now swing. And he hits it flush. And he's like, well, what the hell happened? He's like, you just weren't thinking about it. You know, you do all this stuff just to distract you.
I'd much rather him turn his hat backwards than have to watch close-ups of that figure eight putting stroke.
It's true. It's one of those like, you're like, ooh.
Oh man.
Yep.
It's like, yeah. Could you imagine having like Matt Wolff swing and also figure eight putting? Like,
no, that's too much.
Could you put two funkier things together and have to watch? Like,
luckily Willie's swing is pretty sweet. So
the swing is good. I know it's such a smooth swing.
It's really good. Like, it's a really good swing.
And that's the shit you got to watch on the putting green. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that to see if anything changes over the years.
Let's get like final verdict. What do you think of this win for JT?
It's huge. It's absolutely ginormous because he hasn't won in over a year. Longer than that? I don't even know. And to be honest, he's played pretty poorly. You know, we see little spurts here and there where it's, good round here, good round there, awesome round to the players in shitty weather, but then, you know, plays terrible and doesn't do it. I think he needs this. He's, you know, but he also makes a good point too. He's like, he's what, 27? His prime is basically for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
27 and I don't think, you know, he's not one of these guys that, I do believe he has a bigger focus on golf than a lot of these other guys. And I think having that mentorship of Tiger, there's a great interview with John Rahm. I think he does it at the Masters, and I think he's told the story a couple of times where John Rahm asked Tiger a question about Augusta, like, how do you chip around this place? And Tiger gave him like 30 seconds and like 5 words. He said, "Oh, you just got to feel it out." And Rahm walks ahead a few more holes and looks back, and there's Tiger giving JT like a full-on clinic
Yeah.
on different shots to hit on the greens that it got. So like having that mentorship of Tiger, and like I said, I think JT puts a little bit more effort behind golf than some of these guys. So looking at that, and he's not a huge, he works out, he's in shape, but he's not powerlifting
Mm-hmm.
to the point where his body's gonna break down. Like we see with some of these guys, the Kepkas, the DeChambos. So I'm glad. I think he needed this win. I think he needed it. Him and Bones, it kind of solidifies that relationship.
Yeah.
I think. Now JT did go out last week and miss the cut, which again,
that's all right.
We see it all the time. Going into your next event, and yeah, I think this is huge, and him kind of bringing up that point, like, listen, my prime is my next 10 years. That's a lot of opportunities and a lot of chances. I think now it's, well, can you win something else? Okay, you got 2 PGAs.
Right. Yeah.
Win something else. And with his ability to fight the ball in such different ways,
You would think an Open Championship has to be in the cards at some point, right?
Absolutely. Slower greens. He can be more aggressive with putts.
Mm-hmm.
He can play the different shot types. So, we go through this process with all these guys, the Schefflers, the Kepkas, who's hot, but maybe it's JT's turn where he's just
How
zone.
How much more credit do we give it because it is Tiger who's sort of taken him under his wing, and he's sort of the only guy getting this kind of treatment from Tiger?
I think it's huge to be in that circle.
Yeah.
That it is absolutely huge. Taking it to another sport. We see Jason Tatum got super close with Kobe. And some of the little things that we're seeing in Jason Tatum's game on the basketball court that we know 100% came from Kobe's tutelage.
Yeah.
You now see that with the Tiger Woods, Justin Thomas situation, and I think it's good for Tiger too. I think it keeps him his engines revving a little bit. So it's great for JT, and I think it's good for Tiger too.
Yeah, I think you would have said, or sort of wondered, does Tiger ever sort of take that mentorship role with anybody? You certainly wouldn't have thought so during his playing career with how he acted towards other golfers.
No.
But of course, after all the stuff that's happened, we've seen him be more joking, like on the golf course during rounds. We've seen him at the Ryder Cup or at the President's Cup, really interacting with these guys in a way that he just never has before. And I think everyone probably wondered in the golf world, will he, when these guys do ask him these questions, who will he sort of really take under his wing and really share a lot of stuff with him? And I mean, if you're JT, like, you just hit the jackpot, dude. Like, Tiger gets on your ass about shot shaping and you go out and win a PGA Championship, which requires you to shape the ball like this, that you've probably been practicing for 6 weeks because he busted your balls on the range at whatever club they go to in Florida together. Like, I think it's unbelievable what sort of influence Tiger could potentially have on JT's career going forward. And especially from an Open Championship perspective, no one went out there like Tiger on those courses.
Right.
and was able to play the shots that were required to win those types of championships. So it'll be really interesting, especially going back to St. Andrews. You know, I'm sure they'll play practice rounds together. I'm sure they'll go before then together to play. It'll be really interesting. It'll be really interesting, and I think you made a really good point that let's see if he can win something else. Let's see if he can put it together with something else.
And I do, you know, again, I'm hoping the relationship, the Bones relationship is a good one and will be around for a while. I mean, I think it's neat when Bones commentates because he's very insightful. Like he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, between your dad and your coach being your biggest fan, between Tiger mentoring you through this, and the addition of probably one of the greatest caddies in recent history, to have all of that, it's like, yeah, shit, I better win some of these.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're absolutely right. So
good job, Justin.
Yeah, thanks for coming back to life and getting your ass in gear at one of these majors.
Proud of you. Yeah, thanks for. You know, I pick you all the time, and
I know, right?
about damn time.
That's right. None of us picked him this time, though. You know, missed the boat on that one. But
I was closer than you.
Yep. You were closer than me. That's for sure. All right. I guess switching gears here. We're gonna. I mean, there was a golf tournament this past weekend. Sam Burns won. Scotty Scheffler almost won. Sam Burns surprisingly has won 4 times this year. Did you know that?
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, that wraparound.
I mean, I don't know, but he's won. That's what they said. Found it pretty amazing because I only remember hearing him this past week, but that's that's just me.
Good for Sam. And
Yep.
didn't he finished like 3 hours before?
Yeah.
Guy, like he's just chilling.
Yep. One of those things. But Scotty kind of came back playing a little bit better. Did he make the cut? No, he missed the cut. Yeah, missed the cut. Again, he hadn't played in 4 weeks or 5 weeks since the Masters, so not shocking that you might be a little bit rusty. But the big thing to come into the world of golf is that we finally have names.
Oh boy.
We have names for the first LIV Golf Invitational happening in London. And I think just from what I've been listening to and reading and all that, there's 2 names that people seem pretty surprised about.
Laurie Cantor and AC Ritchie.
Exactly. Yep. That's the 2.
And Jediah Morgan.
Yep.
I think those are the top 3.
I think so, yeah. That's a good gist.
That we kind of talked about off air for a little bit.
So if we dive into those guys, let me tell you.
Do you have their bio up?
I've been looking it up. It's very easy to find because they're so important to the game of golf. It's very easy to find.
Yeah.
We'll get to the whatever fills this list out. But why don't you rattle off a couple of the other names before we so the ones that I've been hearing is people are really surprised by Taylor Gooch. And then also the big boy. Well, not big boy, but the big fish that they got. Mr. DJ, Dustin Johnson.
Who, as of February 29th, said he was fully committed to the PGA.
Yeah. Through PGA Tour Communications, a statement from Dustin Johnson.
But you know what, though? Like, the dude has... You honestly think the PGA Tour, he's going to say, I'm going to come play a PGA Tour event? The PGA Tour is going to say, nope, sorry.
I mean, that's what we have to see. That's
going to be the most interesting piece to me. Like, think about the Mexico Open. Right? If John Rahm wasn't in that field, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was the headliner. So let's go to the Mexico Open or a tournament like that where you have B and C list players, and Dustin Johnson's like, hey, you know what? I'll come play. PGA Tour's gonna be like, no, sorry, you
Well,
can't.
they're going to
because
hear
you
it from
buy-
that sponsor, but they still might say it.
Yeah, we'll see. So first of all, we go from the 13th ranked player in the world, which is Dustin
The
Johnson,
aforementioned Dustin Johnson.
all the way down to the 1,731st.
Listen,
ranked
after
player
the
in
first
world.
like 12 names, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. James Piot,
Yep.
1,731st ranked player in the world. Who are we looking
Let's
at?
rattle off a
Dustin-
couple names that people might recognize.
The people might recognize. Okay, besides the three that we already talked about.
Yeah, but of course.
Okay, Dustin Johnson's going to be there. Louis Oosthuizen, Kevin Na, Taylor Gooch. Why is Taylor? What's
So
the
people
story
were
with
saying that he's
Taylor
a
Gooch?
young player who's been playing better on the PGA Tour and is finally like within the FedEx Cup top, 100, finally starting to kind of put it together. And some people, like the couple of things I were listening to is like he's kind of decided not to bet on himself and just take the payout, right? I'm using air quotes for the people listening on the podcast, but like kind of gave up and was just like, screw it, I'll just take the money because I don't believe I can play well enough on the PGA Tour to make, my own money. Well, who knows?
And we're gonna get such crazy numbers. Like we're gonna get numbers that these guys are making. Who knows? That could be within 5 million of what they're
Right.
getting. It could be 20 million off
Yeah.
of what they're getting. But I don't know. Like, what do you pay a guy like Taylor Gooch to come play? The 35th ranked player.
If you
in
think
the
if
world.
he has to take into account that he could never play on the PGA Tour again, because at this point that's what it is. They'll obviously litigate this
oh yeah,
in the courts, but as
this
of
is
right
going-
now, you have to go into this saying that this decision makes me not play on the PGA Tour anymore. And maybe you throw in 4 majors so you have a chance to win some good money there. Obviously, there's a huge purse for all the majors. If you tell a guy like that, we'll give you $20 million.
Yeah.
Is that good enough? Like just to show up and then you make a guaranteed 300 grand every week?
Yeah. So those are your only top 4 players in the top 50.
Yes.
54, Sergio Garcia, which we kind of had an
Yep.
inkling.
Yeah. You could say.
I can't wait to get out of here.
Only a few more weeks so I don't have to deal with you anymore.
Yeah,
Nobody saw it coming. Really kept that
kinda-
one under wraps.
And we kind of thought maybe he'd give it a try.
Yep.
Pablo Lazarabal,
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Richard Bland, who you he won his first European Tour event after like 580 starts or whatever.
Yep.
Matt Jones, recognize that name
A little
I don't
bit.
know. You see him like a leaderboard once a season
Yeah.
on the PGA. So again, here's $10 million.
Right.
Sold.
Plus a guaranteed whatever you make from actually playing the thing.
Yep. Lee Westwood,
Yep.
Ian Poulter, Hudson Swafford. I feel like I've seen him up around recently in the last couple years. Oh boy.
We've reached the edge of the cliff, everyone. We've reached the edge of the cliff.
Martin Keimer.
There you go.
He was good like 15 years ago.
He won
right?
some majors.
Yeah. Peter Uline.
Yep,
Definitely heard it.
we've heard the name.
Yep. Okay, come on, one more. Oh, Graham McDowell.
There you go. There you go.
Major winner. Yep.
There you go.
Graham McDowell. Chase Koepka.
That's right.
Other Koepka.
Thank God.
Okay. Like, here's the thing.
Has Chase Koepka ever played a PGA Tour event?
So he's got some.
He got a sponsor exemption into a few,
exemption. Right? Yeah.
When Brooks was winning all those tournaments.
Right. Like, they did the whole European circuit, right? Like, I think that's how Brooks worked his way onto the PGA Tours by winning.
That is how Brooks did it.
Times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think Chase was trying to do that same route. So like here's the bitch of it. Is Chase gonna join this and be like, ha, look at my check. Gotcha. You know, is he what's it
I mean, but again, how much does it take to get Chase Koepka there? Like $1 million?
Yeah.
That's nothing to these people. That's like throwing them a $20 bill.
Yeah. So, it's whew. After this first, do we know how we're watching this thing?
Nope. Still nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
There's supposed to be teams. No one knows who's on the teams. Apparently the sort of contractual requirements, like for media appearance and all this stuff, is crazy.
I'm sure they're little puppets. This is my puppet motion.
It's great. For those not watching the YouTube video, you should just for this part. We're at 36 minutes and 57 seconds for anybody wondering when the clip is.
Spot on.
It was wonderful. You look like you were in the In Sync video.
That's what I was going for.
I like it.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
It's just a dumpster fire. Like, it's so bad.
And this is next week, right?
When is the actual event? Hold on.
I think it's next week. Is it just going to be streamed live from Greg Norman's Instagram account?
Yeah, June 9th through 11th. So, next week.
That's where we're going to watch the whole thing. Just
Greg Norman's Twitter account, live Twitter feed.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't know how we're going to watch. We don't know what this team thing is. And the field is full of people no one's ever heard of.
Oh, man, I really hope they have to wear, like, matching outfits.
I really hope so, too. I think they do, to be quite honest.
Perfect.
Which would be unbelievable.
Perfect.
And so, when we get... So, notable names not on there. Bryson.
Which is still pending,
Sure. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying for right now, these are the names not on it. Bryson. Bill.
Oh, boy.
Of course. Maybe Xander. Xander said he looked into it. Who else was talking about it? Adam Scott. Did we see Adam Scott on there?
Adam Scott is not on there.
So there's a couple names, particularly Bryson and Phil. We know Bryson is still hurt, so it does make sense that he's not on there. Phil, we don't know what's going on. Apparently, there's a spot still being held for him based on some of the things I've been hearing. And the Dustin thing, like, the reason he's giving is that he's always wanted to retire by the time he's 40-something. And this is the best decision for his family.
Because he's got so much else going on that he needs to retire from...
Yeah.
At this point, playing golf for 2 days a week because he doesn't make any cuts, being retired and.
What do we think he got? 200 million?
Probably.
Craziness.
But is that a full-time commitment? Like, is this his?
How could it not be?
Is this his full-time commitment to?
How could
golf?
$200 million not be?
Just asking.
How could it not be? That's my question.
The ball is in PGA Tour. Like, I can't wait if they're going to stand by what they said or if they're going to be called on their bluff, and then they're going to look like punks.
Yeah.
And if they do stand by what they say, we're going to court, baby.
It's
100% we're going to. But like, what if the sponsor? Here's the thing. What if the sponsors of these PGA Tour events, like PGA Tour, back off? We're putting the money behind this stuff. We want them in our tournaments.
Does Jay have the balls to stand up to him?
It's going to be interesting. I think he's going to want to. He seems like the kind of guy fairly new at the job. These players are basically saying, "Fuck you."
Yeah, right. I don't know if I can be disappointed in Dustin because I've never really cared that much. It's a shame he's taking money from these type of people. I get it. The only thing that guy cares about is money. It's very clear. He doesn't give two craps about his golf, or else he'd play better with the amount of talent that guy has. We know this won't be the biggest, he's not the first big name to drop. There will be more.
He genuinely doesn't care.
No, he only sees money. He does not care.
Scrutiny, media pressure.
Doesn't matter.
He does not care at all.
Nope. He might care more that he's got to do 90 minutes of media as like a requirement.
That's going to be riveting.
Yeah, riveting stuff.
Riveting stuff.
It's going to be interesting, man. Again, we have no idea how we're going to watch this. No one has any idea what these teams are going to be. They're
going to give all the players handheld cameras, and they're going to videotape it themselves.
Who's going to
handheld cameras?
What would be the point of watching this for more than 20 minutes just to see what it looks like? What is the sustainable audience for this product?
I don't know. It depends. Again, we see the team stuff in the Zurich, in the Ryder Cup, in the President's Cup. Is the team stuff going to be that?
But if you only know one name, just those guys you rolled off don't have a big enough following by themselves. To sustain.
Maybe by the time all this is done, you'll have a Blake Windred become a household name.
Maybe. More power to Blake Windred.
Yeah, or a Turk Pettit.
But how do they think this is sustainable if these are the names that they have to fill out these fields with?
Maybe it'll be like professional soccer. We're apparently the only country that doesn't give a shit about soccer. Everywhere else, it's the most popular thing in the world. Maybe this is the next professional soccer.
I'd be very surprised if that happened. Very surprised. It's going to be fascinating. I'm going to have to watch wherever they put it on for a little bit just to see who's announcing it, what it looks like.
We're going to be doing like skins game. Are we going to be shotgun and beers after every eagle?
At this point, why not?
If you don't get it past a certain point, you got to pull your dick out. Like what? What are we?
The sky's the limit.
Maybe is there a suggestion box?
If you're just broadcasting it on the internet, you could basically do anything.
Yeah. Can we write in? Is there a contact?
Yeah. Is there a suggestions email mailbox that we can maybe?
Can we talk directly to Greg to get some of these things in place?
Craig, I've got a great idea.
Let's have them whip their dicks out.
It's a long drive hole, and all the ones who lose have to whip it out.
Should we play in the dark? should we play some glow golf?
There you go.
We have team-colored golf balls, and we're gonna play.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Ah,
See, we could do this. We'll be consultants.
we could totally do this.
LIV Golf, hit us up.
Yep.
Meet our number, and we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll negotiate. We can come to an understanding.
We're not doing media appearances though. That's out.
No,
That's out of the
no.
contract.
Well, other than this, this
Right,
is,
of course.
This is our own platform.
This remains our own independent platform.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair.
not sponsored by LIV Golf.
Fair enough. We can. Let's have all the players play when they're opposite hand.
There you go. Just maybe for one hole. Just
Yeah,
pick a
like you
hole,
got-
like number
like-
7.
Yeah, or like the other team gets to tell the other team when they have to do it.
Ooh, there you go. Or battle golf, when someone uses a club, both teams lose it.
Yeah.
So if the one team wins the coin flip and uses driver or uses some other club, the other team can't use it on the next hole. Something
every
like that.
every hole a team wins, they get to.
Take a club out of the bags of everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
dude,
this is gold. We don't give too much away.
Can we create our own league? Maybe we should just make our own league.
I
We can
mean,
do this.
it seems like anybody can do it. If we'll find the money. It can't be
We
that
can
hard.
Totally do this.
Can't be that hard. I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to watch just so we can talk about it. But after 10 minutes, I'm out. Like, I don't care.
Don't say that.
I just,
No.
unless the glow balls are in play, then I'm all in.
Who's Like, I want to know who's announcing this. Like, who are the
Nobody
commentators?
knows. It's going to be like Greg's sons and daughters.
Charles Barkley,
There you go.
Bill Walton,
Yep, that'd be good. Yep.
Saunders.
They're going to bring
See?
they're going to bring Musburger back. Oh man, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But again, the second part of it is, what is the PGA Tour going to do when these guys try and play another tour event? That'll be when shit hits the fan and we really see what's going to happen.
Are
So-
we gonna assume Dustin Johnson plays in this next week, and then we don't see him until the U.S. Open?
Yes. That is my assumption. That is my assumption. It's interesting stuff, man.
Sure is.
Well,
Sure is.
we got a good tournament coming up this week at the Memorial. Always a good tournament, a good field.
Yeah,
Well,
nothing
obviously,
like a week in Ohio, huh?
that's right. Lots of highlights of Jack Nicklaus and milkshakes for people to watch. So, I mean, it always gets a good field. It usually gets a good finish.
Yes.
It'll be a good tournament to watch. So, we'll of course keep everyone up to date with, all the fun, updates from LIV Golf or whatever else we might be talking about. Who knows what? We'll see who the winner of Jack's. I mean, it usually gets a good winner too. I can't think of the last time someone sort of unnoteworthy won the Memorial. So at the very least, that'll be good. And we'll keep up to date on this LIV stuff. We'll see if Phil comes out of the darkness at some point to say that he's in. Who the heck knows what that guy's going to be doing or where the heck he is? No one seems to know. Apparently, there was some interview with a guy who produced the match that Phil was in, that apparently Phil is close to, who says Phil's just enjoying being out of the spotlight. He loves it. He is living it up, being out of this, the golf spotlight. If so, good for Phil. Good for you, buddy.
Phil.
Just ride off into that sunset, into that Saudi sunset, with your head held high.
Yeah.
If you still have
there
your
you
head
go.
by the end of it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be back next week to talk about the Memorial, talk about any more LIV Golf updates, and, anything else that happens in this wacky world of golf. Hopefully you've been able to get out and play some golf yourselves. Fairbanks says he's got 36 holes coming up tomorrow. I'm very jealous. If you are getting out there, let us know. What are you shooting? How's your handicap looking this year? Well, the next time we get out to play, we'll we'll have a couple episodes coming up on playing golf, during the season. I want to talk about, I think it'd be a cool episode to talk about handicap and sort of what that means and how you can use it to play against your friends, or, sort of the journey that is trying to get it lower. We've got a couple ideas floating out there for that kind of stuff. So thank you for sticking with us after we missed a few weeks. Hopefully you enjoyed the major. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest episode, and we will talk to everyone next week after Jack's tourney.
All right, swing hard, everyone.
Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you later.
Oh, it's not a cut. That's a slice.
Now this is a quack hook.
Oh,
Short
wow.
and into the right rough, headed to the trees.